Hey everybody, Cheryl's here! Why? Because we're reviewing this awesome ice maker. It's a Newaire 45-pound portable countertop clear ice maker. And it's really pretty cool. We've used it a couple times, but we wanted to start over. Now, one thing I do want to say is the first model we got had an issue, and they replaced it really, really quickly. So that's really important to know. The one we get may be perfect, but everything that gets made isn't perfect. So just remember, your first stop is not to go, it doesn't work, but to contact the company and see what you need. Now, one of the things that's super cool here is this card. So it says stop, please read. It's the first thing. And it says, should you have any questions regarding your unit setup or any issues experienced in its performance, please call us. And they have their phone number clearly listed, and it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 Pacific Standard Time. Because I think what can be really hard with a lot of electronics is getting in touch with people.
Right. Always. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's got this little card, then it has a quick start guide about how to unbox it. The one thing that you do need to know about these, right, is that because it has a compressor, which is what makes the ice, we have to make sure it's level. I was thinking it was 2 days. I was wrong.
No.
So you can use it that day. So it says when you unbox it, remove all the packing material, and you know there's going to be little hidden things places. So just check all the places and make sure there's no damage to the cord and that the cord works okay. We have it plugged in right now, but we don't have it turned on. And then I think we've gotten all the blue protective layer from the exterior, and that's all over the stainless steel. It was a little hard to get off, but honestly, it's just there for protection, so it doesn't matter. They recommend that you use spring water. And maybe we should even talk about why would you get an ice maker?
So in our case, the reason that we were looking at ice makers was because we bought a new refrigerator, and the ice maker in the new refrigerator just could not keep up with our consumption of ice.
Plus it breaks. It freezes up.
And it broke like constantly. Like we had to have the repair people out here like 2 or 3 times. The ice drawer kept freezing up, and I'd have to like throw my whole body into it to try to get it open, and it was ridiculous. And we got so tired of messing around with it, we started looking into countertop ice makers.
And while this does take up like probably about the same amount as an Instant Pot width-wise or a KitchenAid, you don't have to have this right on your kitchen counter either. You could put it in the laundry room, or we have it usually on a table over there. We just have to make sure it's completely level. And because you said we can use a bucket to take any like water out of it to clean it and things like that. So it's not hooked up to a water line.
Right.
So you can use it anywhere.
It's easier to clean if you can get it over a sink or something like that. But, you know, if you have it on your countertop in your laundry room, you can just, if you don't have a sink in your laundry room, you can just take a bucket and you can just kind of like, you know, hold the bucket at the edge of the counter and release the water from underneath and just let it drain.
So you can see the ice tray here, and what happens is water's going to cascade over that layer by layer and freeze up, and it freezes pretty fast, honestly.
It does. Really good job.
So it's pretty cool. And cleaning is important. So how do you clean it? Because when we first get it, we're going to want to clean it because, you know, just like even pots and pans that we get at Home Goods, we're going to clean. So what do you do to clean it?
So on this particular model, there is a cleaning cycle. I use a 1-to-1 ratio of vinegar and water.
Can it be any kind of vinegar, or does it need to be white vinegar?
White distilled vinegar is the best to use for that. And I take about, I don't know,
a cup
of water to a cup of vinegar, and I pour it in. And then on the front over here, there's actually a cleaning cycle.
Oh.
And once you get your vinegar and water in there and you push that cleaning cycle, it starts running everything through the system just as it would if it's making ice, except that the compressor doesn't come on and things don't freeze. So it just runs it for about 20 minutes. And then I drain all the vinegar and water out from the bottom. There's a little drain plug. Hang it over the sink, let it drain out, wait till all the water's out. You'll still have about that much water in the bottom here at the top. What I usually do is take a paper towel and wipe that out. Then I go ahead and I fill the entire thing to the max fill line with plain water, put the plug back in, and I run the cleaning cycle again to rinse everything with the plain water. And then I drain that. And then I also just pour some water in and let it just drain completely through. And then I put the plug back in and it's ready to go. And that's where we are right now. We've done all the cleaning today, just to make sure everything was nice and spiffy looking. I do want to mention inside that there is this basket that I do take out when I'm doing the cleaning. And I just go ahead and wash this with some warm soapy water and let it dry. And then I go ahead and put it back in when I get the plug back in and everything's ready to go.
Okay, perfect. And one thing I was surprised about, not knowing what was going to go on, is that basically you would think that then this ice stays frozen forever until you use it. But no, it freezes the ice up here, but there's not like a freezer section. So it actually melts, goes back into this reservoir and creates ice. So let's say you didn't turn it off and you left it all night, it's just going to go through that cycle. So I'm just telling you that, so if you're expecting to overnight, then magically you have 17 times more ice than you usually do. No, you're going to have exactly the same amount of ice, pretty much.
When you're using it, there's a message that'll come out on the front, and if it needs water, it'll actually tell you to add water by the little message on the front.
So once you want to look through this, obviously you've got your quick start guide, but the first thing we're going to do after we've cleaned it is add water. And it recommends spring water, but we have well water that goes through several processes, so it's really clean. Okay, and so it's at the top and where you pour in the water. You can't see the max fill line from here, but that's okay.
This isn't going to fit it all.
Because, yeah, it's not going to fill it all the way, and that's what we have. So we're going to close that. And if it doesn't snap on, it does have a little bit of play to it. I wouldn't worry about that. This is just so nothing falls into your water. All right, so you can see here we have some different buttons. We have timer and clean, and that's the cleaning cycle Cheryl was talking about earlier, on and off. This is not apparent, but like when you see the squares, they make little squares of ice. And the quickest cycle, it just makes around the outside, so it makes like U's. And then you add time to make it more square. So let's turn it on. And you can see it's saying, hey, I'm getting ready. And so if we add this time, it adds more minutes before the ice would be ready. And it goes up to 6, and that would be a whole square. But I'm going to start first at the quick one, and we're going to show you what that ice looks like. Then we will go and show you what the thicker ice looks like. So you can kind of see right in here, that's the water coming through. Yeah. So you can kind of see the water comes out here and runs down. So as that metal part gets frozen, it makes the ice. So what will happen with this short cycle is it will freeze all around the sides. When the longer cycle, it keeps going.
After a few minutes, you'll notice that you'll quit seeing the bouncing around over here, and it'll actually tell you how many minutes are left before your ice is done right there. So it'll be about 9 minutes and we'll have our first batch of ice.
Oh, you can see now. You can start to see already the ice forming there. See it? And when the ice is ready, it's going to dump itself out too. So we are only hovering over our ice machine just for you.
Yeah, typically this is way hands off. We pour in the water, push the button, and walk away. And we have found for us, we like to have our ice cubes a little on the thicker side. So we usually add the max density and get the more fuller squares of ice than the ones with the holes in them.
Cheryl was just talking behind the scenes about the different ice cubes. So like one of the reasons this is going to take 8 minutes now, and you saw it started to, because like literally the water runs over this cold thing and it gets thicker and thicker. So the reason we would use thin cubes is because I want some ice as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you like to crunch ice, it might be a little easier for you to crunch the ones that aren't as solid if you're an ice cruncher. I'm an ice cruncher. But I do like to have them a little thicker so that they don't melt so fast in my drinks. So I think if you're having like, you know, a pint glass of soda or something like that, you're going to want those thicker ice cubes. Even just a big pint glass full of water. Like we fill up our big thermal mugs with ice all the way to the top and then put water in them and just kind of let it melt throughout the day. So having the thicker ice is better for us in that case because it stays colder in our thermal mugs and just stays longer for us.
Right. And here's the thing. So it is going to stay longer. And that also means if you're doing the cycle, like it's going to take longer to make, but then it's going to take longer for it to turn back into water and melt and come back. So in my opinion, unless you need the thinner ones or you need ice fast, and you get to go all the way in between. So you can find the one that's perfect for you. If you want to make an ice creamless milkshake, like I made the strawberry milkshake on Chef AJ's show, I would use the thinner ice because really what we're wanting is to make kind of crushed ice later on. So if you're going for something like that, but those cubes look really cool though too. Yeah. They look really like snazzy cocktail in your cocktails and mocktails. I think for my food photography, I have some fake ice cubes and I think they remind me of those. And so the other thing is this is not super expensive. So some of the nugget ice makers are quite expensive, and this is like more of a reasonable normal person price. So even if you got it just to have parties or to have holidays, you could use it part of the time, put it away, and then pull it back out and use it off and on because it is portable, and that's super awesome. Ooh,
there you go.
It's getting ready to do it. I'm so excited. Look, do you see how Max is excited too? Do you hear our puppy?
Max hates the noises from this.
He doesn't like it. So see, there's a hole in the middle, but I'm wondering, will it pop out if we have the lid open?
Yeah.
You're sure?
Yeah, it just takes it a minute.
Okay. I'm being impatient because you're standing there watching me on the interwebs, people.
It takes it a minute because it's pushing it forward. Can't you see?
Oh.
Can you see how it's coming forward there?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see exactly.
It's pushing it forward.
You can see it there.
There it comes. Woo! And then it just starts automatically and it starts making the next batch.
These are the thinnest ice cubes. And they're still quite square on the outside, but you see they have a middle.
And this is great, like if you're having a Super Bowl party and you've got extra friends coming over and you know, gone are the days of us having to make ice for a week before we have a party and put it in bags in your freezer, because now you don't have to do that. You can just get yourself one of these Newaire ice makers, put it on your counter, and start making ice early that morning and just keep making ice during the party, and you'll always have enough ice for your folks.
So a couple things you can do. You can either take something metal or you can break it up like that because it's just ice hitting ice, right?
Normally, we would take the ice scoop and just kind of pop on it.
It comes with a plastic ice scoop, which is not as good to break up the ice.
But this little ice machine has been quite a lifesaver for us because, like I said, we have an unusually large ice consumption in this household.
In this two-person household.
Because we are both ice lovers and we both have to have our drinks as cold as they
possible.
come. I mean, we even drink iced coffee in the mornings, and we just
when it's 11 degrees outside,
fill the mugs up with ice and just like go to town. So yeah, our poor refrigerator. There's no way that it could keep up with us, and especially like one night we had Dawn and Rob come over and their whole family came, and we didn't have enough ice. The ice maker just could not keep up with 5 of us trying to get ice. And it was very frustrating. But the next time they came over, we had this puppy hooked up. Everybody had ice all night long, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. And if you're not looking for an ice maker, great. Just keep it in the back of your head in case you ever need one. When I started looking at them, so as soon as our refrigerator, we found out, basically had a lemon ice maker. And it wasn't making me lemon cubes either. It was a lemon as in not a good one. I started kind of trying to research some of these, and they weren't easy to find what was good and what wasn't. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make a few videos. Also, I'm the appliance whisperer as far as the cooking appliances, but Cheryl is in charge. This is why she's having to do this video. She's being such a trooper. Is that larger machines like this, she takes care of. She takes care of the things for our reverse osmosis and different things like that. So she's often helping me research. And one of the things that we did see was that sometimes they'll make a loud noise or something like that. And it sounded like that's when they need cleaning. It means that there's a lot of scale buildup. So if yours is doing it immediately and you're not using spring water, maybe clean it again and try some spring water. And then if it's not and it's still making loud sounds, that's when you would go ahead and contact Newair, and they'll help talk you through it. In fact, that's what we did when our first one was a little hinky, and they were super nice, asked you some questions, right? Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
They were super great. They gave me an email address to send them a video so I could show them and let them listen to what it was doing. And then they came right back with, that we're going to send you a new one. And it was fantastic. It was, their response to things was like immediate, like absolutely immediate. The product is very well made. It's very solid, and honestly, for the price point, it's really good. One thing that I noticed in all of the reviews that we were reading about other machines and things is everybody always talks about how loud the ice makers are. Well, they have a compressor in them, so they are going to be as loud, possibly as a newer refrigerator or your freezer when it's running. But right now, this is running, and it doesn't.
We're right by it.
We're right by it, so I know you can probably hear the hum of it. But it's honestly not that loud, folks. I mean,
so most of some of you guys may have stumbled across the YouTube channel from something else or searching for ice maker reviews. But if you're one of my normal viewers, we use Vitamixes and Ninja Creamies, and those are significantly louder.
Yeah.
And again, if it's loud enough that it's going to bother you, you could put it in a whole other room. Because again, it's not hooked up to a water supply.
The amount of time that it takes to make ice also depends on the ambient temperature in the room as well.
So what she means is like by ambient temperature is I keep the house really cold in the winter. So this is going to do awesome in the winter. Yeah. In the summer, we keep it pretty cold. So this is perfect.
We're two middle-aged ladies. We keep it cold.
It's kind of like with the Instant Pot, it can take longer to come up to pressure depending on the temperature in the room. So that's what she means by ambient temperature. And you can only use water to make ice cubes. So you're not going to make lemonade ice cubes in here or something like that because you just can't clean it. Well, like you can't take all the pieces and parts and scrub all that sugar out.
Yeah.
Only water needs to go in there.
Yeah. Putting sugar in this would be like dumping a sugary drink on the keyboard of your computer. The keys aren't going to work anymore after about an hour, and you're going to have to get a new keyboard. Same thing's going to happen in here. It's going to muck something up, and it's not going to work anymore. So just only use water in this. Don't try to make flavored ice cubes or anything like that.
Okay, and this is when we can start hearing a little bit of the sound, sometimes that you're hearing from the machine.
Yeah.
But it's not a consistent.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a little, like a sucking noise while water's moving through the system, and that's normal. Most of the time you just hear the fan. As compared to, like Kathy was talking about earlier, as compared to a Vitamix or a Creamy or something like that, this thing is quiet. Super quiet.
So you can see how it's really filling out there. It looks almost like it's empty, but look, it's just trying to go all the way out to the side. And we should be able to kind of show you and compare those.
One of the things I did want to mention while we have this open is that when this ice bin gets full, this will actually turn the machine off as well. And like before, you can see that very slowly the ice is being pushed out ever so slowly. You can see the final freezing happening there. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off so we can take a look at some of these. All right, I'm going to pull out one of these to show you the thicker,
big ice.
The big ice. Now, these are solid cubes.
So turn it over so they can see the back side.
So here's the back side of that. You can see there's just little dimples.
Little dimples right there versus this. And see how this is very big on the inside.
And these are more solid.
Okay. So let's break those up. So one thing that I think is nice to have is a metal scoop if you have it, or a metal muddler would make a little bit quicker work when there's a bunch.
So you get you a nice glass of ice. I am not good with the scooping. Scooping, not my forte.
Okay. So now that we have fresh ice, I've got some pre-mixed mocktails for our afternoon. So one is a Fomosa that has turmeric in it. There's no added sugar in there. This will be the first time I'm trying that. And then we have a Lyre's non-alcoholic rum, dark and spicy.
Ooh, spicy.
Spicy. And so basically it's a non-alcoholic dark and stormy. What's interesting too about some of these non-alcoholic drinks, like this whole can, they're usually 100 calories or under. Some of the beers are like 35 calories.
Wow, that's like Michelob Ultra versions there.
Okay, here. I know you don't, or do you want to try the Fomosa?
No, I don't want to try the Fomosa. I'll try this one.
Oh, you're going to like the Formosa.
Oh, you want to try? Oh, that's really good.
I knew it was
Kind of like a little tiki drink. But I'll tell you what, having all this ice in here, like all the way to the top with ice, makes it even better.
Yeah. So a lot of times people go, why do you have so much ice? And one of the reasons is that it helps me drink probably twice as much water during the day.
Me too.
So I don't think that's everyone, but if you like cold water, that's another benefit. And then you can deserve your little mocktails later on.
Exactly.
Cheers and enjoy.
And you know who would really benefit from one of these? John and Claire.
Oh, there are friends who love cocktails
They
and
love to make
mocktails.
cocktails and mocktails, and they always like to have people over at the house for cocktail hour. And this would be great for them when they were getting ready to have folks over. They could just let it run for a couple hours and boom, got all the ice they need for their party.
I think that's great. So think of it as a present too, because maybe later on you'll find somebody that needs it. If you have any questions, leave them below. We are not the builders of this machine, so we may not be able to answer all the questions, but we'll try and get whatever we can answered. Okay? Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I hope this helps.